Welcome back to this episode on academic writing. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to write a proper introduction. Introduction goes a long way to actually carry your reader or the person you're presenting to along such that they can get the topic and have like a broad overview. So if that sounds like what you're looking for, then definitely keep watching. Introduction is something we do almost on a daily. So now let me paint this concept for you. Imagine you meet somebody for the first time and the first thing you say is, "Hey, sit down, let's have a meal." I'm sure the person will be like, "Okay." But then now imagine another scenario. You meet someone who walks up to you and says, "Hello, how are you? My name is this. Um I'm here because of this and this and that. Please, can you help me this way or that way?" You have an idea of the person you're speaking to. Or even if the person is trying to, okay, let's say the person is trying to ask you out now, the person would still come and say, "Hello, my name is this is who I am, I like you because this, that." Do you get? Like, you always have to introduce something for the other person to get the concept. So that's the same way introduction goes in academic writing. You always have to be able to pass that message in your introduction such that when the person marking your work or the person you're introducing to actually reads the whole paper, they get the concept, they get what you're trying to do. Not that they read the whole introduction, they're like, what's this person talking about? Or what's this person trying to achieve? Or what's this person trying to do? That happens a lot. So introduction is very crucial and it makes sense to actually take your time to write it and all. What I have decided to do in this video is to give you an example of what an introduction looks like based on some papers that I have written. And the thing is, for the academic paper, the introduction part is actually a bit much because it was for a protocol. So I'm going to attach a link for you to check it out if you're really interested, so you can see what my introduction looks like and how that can help you. But for the other part, which is the presentation part, it was actually a PowerPoint presentation. I will try to put it on the slide and then show you what is expected in an introduction. Do you get? But first, what you need if you need to write an academic writing, if you need to write anything, first you need a topic. At least we have to know what we're talking about in the first place. You need a topic. You need to have a good knowledge of critical analysis. I have spoken about that and it will be nice if you can check the video. It will really help you. So a good knowledge of critical analysis, and then you have to have several literatures, journals, several literatures just at your disposal on that same topic. You can't want to write an introduction and you just have two literatures for you to review to use to write the paper. Nah, you have to have a lot. My introduction is always 10% of the total academic writing. So for example, let's say you have a 3,000 word count essay to write. That means your introduction should be approximately 250 to 350 words. So that way you know that you're getting the point in, you're concise, you're not just writing a very long introduction that actually has embodied what the whole essay is all about. So now let's move into what an introduction should contain. First, you have to define the topic. You have to let us know if there is a standard definition for the topic you're actually writing. And I have already said in my previous video on critical analysis that defining a concept or a topic is actually a way to critically analyze it. So you have to define it and then put the reference of where you got that definition from. Put it there, and that would allow the reader to understand that, okay, this is the standard definition for this thing. And if there are several definitions, put those several definitions there, and I'm sure once you have several definitions, there will be controversies about that definition, or about those definitions rather. So write the controversies or summarize the controversies that you have regarding the definition and pick which one is mostly used. Do you get? So that way you have you have defined the topic and you have critically analyzed that definition. Does that make sense? Next is historical background. Every concept, every topic, every issue has an history. Never leave it out. It is very important. It's just the same way you want to know where you're from, what your people do, your culture, everything. That's the way historical background is. You need to bring it into play so that we can see how the issue or whatever it is you're writing has evolved over time. Has there been a change for the positive or the negative? Has it worsened or is it better? Do you get? So you have to bring in the historical background. What has happened in the Advent ADs and stuff like that? Bring it into play. But that doesn't mean that you now list out, okay, in 1907 this, in 1902 this, in 1990 the. No, it just means read around it historically and then summarize it in your own words. Okay, so far this is what has gone, this is what has been going on regarding this topic. These are the changes that has happened and all. And that will now bring me to the next point, which is the current trend. No matter how much we're interested in the historical background, you will still want to know what's happening presently, because that is our reality. That brings the basis for your argument. So what is the current trend? What is going on presently? So you will look at the current trend around that topic. And when you're talking about current trends, never talk about current trends without using data. You always have to use data to back up your trends. There is always a number to back it up. So use your data, bring data into play, back up those trends. Like, this is what is going on, this is the increase that has happened, this is what is maybe there is an expected change that is to happen, this is what is expected to happen within this duration of time. Next, we talk about the proposed solutions and limitations. So let's say you're talking about a problem that has been occurring over a while. That means there have been solutions that have been proposed, that has been tried. So you need to talk about those solutions and what the limitations were and what is limiting them from actually achieving a progress that is tangible presently. So that way you have gone back to history again, kind of, and at the same time you're talking about the solution and how you think that comes into play presently. And although you're writing an introduction, the next thing is your conclusion. You need to always conclude your introduction. That conclusion part kind of gives the reader a brief, I don't know, you know, it's possible to write just 2 lines and we actually get what you're trying to say. So that conclusive part of your introduction is that part where you tell the reader, okay, this is what you should expect, this is what I am trying to write about, this is how I intend to go about it, and then, okay, happy reading. To get, so that way they actually get the concept of the introduction. Introduction is not just when you write, as in I have seen people write, okay, imagine you're writing 3,000 word count and your introduction is 1,000. You have put the whole body of the essay in the introduction part. It doesn't work that way. 10% of your whole thing is enough for the introduction. And your introduction, even though it's just an introduction, it still has the beginning, it has the body, and it has the conclusive part. So like the head, the middle, and the tail. So like, it's not just you just brushing around the topic and say blah blah blah. It has to have a context. So if you follow this particular guideline, I promise you, you would have covered a whole lot. And then once the introduction is read, it's like, oh, okay, this person knows what he or she's talking about. And no matter how you write the introduction, always make sure that you have enough literature to back up whatever you're saying. Nobody wants to hear about Wikipedia or Google or stuff like that. They want to hear good academic papers, good journals, good published or unpublished. We just want you to review all papers. Do you get? The introduction for PowerPoint and essay differs slightly. Reason being that for PowerPoint, you can't write everything on the slide. It makes it clumsy. So that way you have to just put the points and then talk about it when you're presenting. That's the only difference. But either way, the same concept still applies to both. So that said, I have said I'm going to leave a link in the description box and on the screen, maybe, to link you to an introduction that I wrote for a particular paper so that you can view it, because it is quite long. I can't put that on the screen. You can read it and understand what I am talking about. So that would give you a view and like a guide to how you should write yours. But that's for an essay. So for say a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation, I'm going to put that on the screen right now and we're going to discuss it and talk about it. So let's put it on the screen. This PowerPoint, the topic is HIV infection as a global health problem by me, and this is my outline. So now let's get to the introduction part. HIV, also known as human immunodeficiency virus infection, is a preventable viral disease transmitted through contact of broken skin or mucous membrane with infected body fluid like semen, breast milk, or blood. The virus attacks body's immune system, thereby making it vulnerable to opportunistic infections. If untreated, it eventually leads to AIDS. Since the onset of this infection, so now do you see how history comes to play? I have sort of defined it up there. Now history is coming into place. Since the onset of this infection, over 70 million people have been infected globally. Now, coming down to the current trend of 2016, approximately 36.7 million people had HIV in the world. However, 70% of this prevalence is in the sub-Saharan African region. Now we're coming down to the current trend. So because this is a PowerPoint presentation, I back it up with diagrams, representations, whatever will help to break it down so that people can actually understand what I am saying. So now this is a diagrammatic illustration showing the global prevalence of HIV according to regions. You can see that the blue section is the sub-Saharan Africa part of the whole issue. And then the number of people newly infected with HIV. These are current trends. Do you get now? Now, 1 million deaths in 2016 shows a 48% decrease in mortality since it peaked in 2005. Now, I am talking about the data, the current trends. Data is still coming into place. Also in the same year, there were 1.8 million new infection cases, which showed 11% and 47% decrease among adults and children respectively. Like, with the solution, what has been achieved. So you can see that it still follows the guideline, but because this is a PowerPoint presentation, it would not be, I can't write everything in there. So that's why this is like this. Even with the degree of progress, the rate is still quite alarming. We're still talking about the problem. Now we move to the HIV and globalization part. So now I'm going deep into the presentation. So we leave that. So we're done with the... Basically now you know what HIV is. You know the trend, how it has worsened over time, how there has been decrease, how you get like what has been going on with the whole thing. So in short, I have just told you, like I have just summarized to you everything there is to know about HIV's data before you now go deep into the topic itself. So now that's the PowerPoint part. Don't forget, for the other part, for the essay itself, you have to click on the link in the description box and go and read and go and check out the essay I wrote. Just the introduction part. I can't put everything there because I know plagiarism is a thing and all. So just the introduction part and then you can get the concept I am talking about. But I have already given you a guideline to how to write the introduction, so that should help. You shouldn't even have any problem writing your introduction right now if you follow that guideline. But make sure you use good academic papers, always use your references, always paraphrase. I promise to do a video on how to paraphrase effectively without plagiarizing. I promise you on that. That Turnitin will be amazed. Like, you can have like 4% in Turnitin. Don't worry, I promise to do a video on that. Expect that very soon, probably next year. The year is almost running to an end. So, guys, thank you for watching this video this far. I hope you have liked it. I hope you have subscribed. And if you have watched to this end, you should have liked and subscribed. Okay, thank you for watching. And till I see you again, make sure you put a smile on somebody's face.